right, if you just joined us, you're still on to Enterprise Friday, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's have our conversation for today. Former Commonwealth Secretary General Chief Emeka Anyaoku has called for the immediate abolition of Nigeria's 1999 constitution, advocating a return to true federalism. Speaking at the launch of Professor Akinjide Oshutokun's biography in Lagos, Anyaoku argued that Nigeria was more unified and prosperous under a federal system before the military imposed a unitary system in 1966. He stated that diverse nations achieving unity and progress embraced a federalism that reflects their unique composition. He urged the Nigerian government to consider a more democratic, inclusive constitution, emphasizing that the current one fosters a division, economic struggles, poverty, insecurity, and corruption. Highlighting successful examples of federalism worldwide, Anyaoku stressed that adopting a genuinely federal constitution is essential to addressing Nigeria's challenges and preserving the nation. He warned that even an ideal leader could not succeed under the 1999 constitution and pressed for an urgent shift towards a system honoring Nigeria's diversity. He argued that this change is critical for achieving unity, stability, and development. Let's have a conversation. Doing that together with us, so still in the studio, we have Emeka Madunagu, and joining us is Cyril Abaku, journalist, public affairs analyst. Good morning to you, Cyril.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so very much, Emeka. All right, so let's have this conversation. I think it's very important we understand the background to which Anyaoku made his submission at the book launch of Professor. I'd love to start with you, Cyril Abaku. Help us maybe excavate the true story of what happened and why Anyaoku possibly stated what he did.
Thank you. If for those of us who have been following what has been going on in the country for some time now, this won't be the first time Anyaoku will be saying this. As a matter of fact, his generation, if you look at it, Ben Wambweze, Rotimi Williams, Richard Akinjide, and so on, they've always held this opinion that something was fundamentally wrong with the 1999 constitution. And frankly speaking, anybody who has seen Nigeria from the vantage point of many years knows that its problems are never new. The patterns of behavior of leaders are never new. It has been the same thing in every new era and dispensation. And so, 1999, the problem with the constitution begins with the very foundation of the book, which says, "We the people." But even
so that word is good enough to snare danger.
Now I'm coming. Yeah. Now the point is, could a bad thing ever lead to a good solution? Maybe sometimes yes, but in this case, it has not given us a good solution. When the law opened by saying "we the people," the question is, when did we the people sit to meet and agree to write the kind of laws we have today? There was no such time. What we had was that Abubakar brought up, that is speaking of 1998, brought up what was called the Constitution Debating Committee. People like Rufai, Nikitobi and Kobe are all on that committee. They brought the constitution, then the constitution. Okay, good. Now that we have the constitution, what does the constitution say, or what did it do? It essentially looked at Nigeria not as a country of diverse cultures, but as a country that could be welded together into one single unitary vision of government, and packed all the powers, all the critical powers, and put them at the center. Now, what that led to, I'm summarizing the matter, is that everybody wants to be relevant. Everybody has to go to Abuja to be relevant. If you stay back in your state or in a local government area, either money will not come to you, or not significant, or not significant will happen there. All the powers are in police powers in Abuja. Everything you can think of is in Abuja. So in that, and then what that means is that all of us going to put pressure on Abuja will only put corruption in Abuja. So whereas you have people like EFCC, ICPC, they're fighting corruption here and there. The real cause of corruption isn't people being corrupt. That people are being forced into corruption, or corruption is forced on people. So until you will deal with these foundation issues, we are talking of Lakurawa coming. Imagine a country in which locals, village people went on their own to Mali and Niger and went and paid mercenaries to come to Nigeria to come and secure their cattle and their farms. If even that story is anything for us to believe, then when they came, those people came with their arms, sophisticated arms, and religion. Meanwhile, by law, we claim that we are a secular state. Okay, accepted. The DSS found out that such a body was operating and it was against Nigerian law. They didn't do anything, or they couldn't really do anything. They really couldn't do much, because since it's happened now, we are dealing with Lakurawa. When police said these people were operating and that they are not the right, Mieti Allah came up and said that they should leave them alone. That these people are just herdsmen from outside the country. So there's a problem. When the president said that there was a coup in Niger and we needed to invade Niger, I was for the Nigerian invasion, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I was for it. If you check my interviews about a year ago, I was all for it. The north of Nigeria said that to attack Niger was attack the north itself. Mm-hmm. So it means that we have not able this.
Which is not far from the truth.
Well, but should that really be the truth? And why is it that the first attempt by Nigeria to agree, because without a constitution, there's no country. Mm-hmm. Also, the first attempt by Nigeria to even say we are a country, we are a people, has failed to draw us together to believe in that oneness of nationhood. If that is the case, why don't we check what are the faulty parts of that of that book of laws and what can we change? Because if they, do you know that even in the Bible, when Moses was to address the Israelites when the laws came, he said, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord thy God is one." Before he talked about thou shalt not steal, that he said the Lord thy God. So he was saying that there is only one lawgiver, only one source, only one vision. He is one. That is talking about constitution. That, and we say that every law that is written that is inconsistent with the constitution to the extent of its inconsistency shall be null and void as far as it flies in the face of the constitution. We have a country in which, so there are a lot of issues. Now, if we are having persistent issues, why don't you go back to that source book to say, look, how is aren't you bothered that Nigeria has 36 states and an FCT, right? I have not seen anywhere where a central government, even local government areas, will be the one creating states. Maybe that's fine. Then create local government areas. And the states cannot be the one to create their local government areas. Now we are debating about Kano having 44, Lagos having how many? 20. Having 20. And so for me, these are fundamental issues. There must be a clear-cut room, right? There must be clear-cut room to allow people of diverse parts to pursue their own development at their own pace, in their own way, and uniquely so. And nobody should sit somewhere to dictate to everybody how they should go.
Very well said. Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, a notable presenter and analyst here, had often said that the problem is not the constitution. The problem is about the people. You know, that even if we get the best constitution, in the people are not redeemed in themselves, it still makes nonsense of the constitution itself. Emeka Madunagu, do you believe in this? Especially, Anyaoku made references to India, to Canada, and Australia, I guess, and spoke about how diverse those countries are. But because they believe in redeeming themselves, they are able to work with whatever available book they have, which of course is their constitution. Don't you think that is the case if done properly here?
I think Chief Emeka, with due respect to him, just mix a lot of things together.
Are you sure?
First of all, we don't have a value-driven political culture in Nigeria. That's where the problem is.
A value-driven political
culture. What we have is just a rent-seeking, selfish Buccaneer culture. People don't go into office to serve. They go into office, it's my turn to back. What will I get? Their relations are telling them, oh boy, now our family turn, no let this opportunity pass. Anything where you feel grab, all grab, now grab.
Yeah. Don't you think there's a remote cause to that? Let's not look at just superficially.
Yes. When you don't have a value-driven culture, a culture of service, why are you now blaming the constitution? The constitution said we the people, and it's correct because why? That constitution brought into place a National Assembly. elected by the people. And the constitution has gone through different phases of amendment. So if that preamble was faulty at the beginning, the amendment, by reason of the amendment, the first amendment to the constitution, by the duly elected representatives of people, has taken care of that problem, in my view. Has taken care of that problem. That is one. Two, the culture of rent seeking is such that there have been opportunities you get for the component parts of Nigeria, for those calling for restructuring, division, to effect changes. But what happened? At the last minute, they chickened out. I'll give you an example. State police. Since 1999, we've been talking of state police. As successive governments have shown the willingness, you get, to institute state police. But when it came to the point of, okay, how do we go about it? Because for any constitutional amendment to have effect, it must be agreed on. Whatever amendment will be agreed upon by 2/3 of the legislatures in 2/3 of the 36 states. They chickened out. Local government autonomy that Jonathan, President Jonathan campaigned so much about, and even it was there at the constitution as the conference in 2014. What happened? President Muhammadu Buhari, passionate also about local government autonomy, did so much, even issuing an executive order. What did the governors do? They thwarted it. When it came to time to vote, judicial independence, so that the judiciary at the federal and state levels, you understand, will be on first line charge, and then they won't need to depend on the executive. What did they do? The former governor of Lagos State, Ambode, when he went to the Lagos judiciary for one event, was saying that no, how can we say the judiciary should have power to buy cars, for example, to do all of these things? So when the very custodians of the people's power, the people's mandate, the electoral franchise, when they become cowardly about taking on fundamental reforms, why are you blaming the constitution? You talk about unitary government. Okay, if it was really the problem of the constitution, President Muhammadu Buhari actually brought about the reforms that started in the election sector were started by President Obasanjo. Jonathan did his own. Buhari went further. Tinubu came in. One of the first things he did, commendable, was to just break the glass ceiling and say, okay, states, you can generate and distribute electricity. It's up to you. From hydroelectric, from gas, from even expanded it to include alternative sources. How many states have gone to say, okay, we are going ahead with this. We are setting up an electricity market. We are going to pass the consequential legislation. How many? Up to now. We come to national minimum wage. There was a debate under President Muhammadu. Okay, states, do we allow you to have the power to set up your own minimum wage? Negotiate with your workers. This way, that way, this way. The private sector came out with its own, there's a tripartite thing. The federal government, the state governments, and the private sector. The private sector came out quickly with its own template. Thank you. As a matter of fact, some members of the private sector, banks and all that, had actually set their own minimum wage far higher. While states were still jumping up and down, bickering over whether they should have the right to, or whether they should leave it to the federal government. At the end of the day, it was just one governor, Gabriel of Edo State, who was courageous enough to break ranks with his colleagues and say, okay, we are going to pay 70,000 naira. Before that governor started summoning the courage. A state like Benue has not said anything about minimum wage. Now, NLC has ordered workers in those states where action has not taken on minimum to go on strike from December on. I can go on and on and on. So when you blame the constitution, let's also look at it like Barrister Tunji said. Even if you put the best people there, the Nigerian culture of grab it, snatch it, and run with it will thwart every effort you make. Unitarism, we have had opportunities to end it. After all, it was General Thomas Aguiyi-Ironsi, who brought about unitarianism through Decree 34, right? But of 1966. But what happened? Between then and now, it's over 50 years. Why are the states still hiding behind unitarianism? Because they are getting benefits from it. You will now have a debate over President Tinubu's tax bills, right? VAT that was introduced by Abacha on the recommendation of Dr. Kari Kakalo, who was headhunted from the IMF because he recommended it to South Korea and it worked. He just brought it to Nigeria. Without debate, General Abacha just approved it. And what was it? Feeding bottle collection of sales tax that the federal government should collect on behalf of us. And they were happy. You understand? Then it was military regime. But now we have civilian administration since for 25 years. Why haven't they pushed for it to say no? Let VAT be by attribution, not derivation. So you see that it is the laziness of the operators in the system that has kept all these problems going. So what Chief Emeka Anyaoku is saying, with due respect to him, yes, it's laudable, but let me tell you, the ship has since left the harbor. The horse has bolted from the stable. So what we need to do now is to tell our political operators that they are the ones actually sabotaging the country. Look at some days ago, in the House of Reps, some people brought up the issue of expanding Sharia law, application in the Constitution. But Muslims from the South opposed it, which was remarkable.
But don't you think that is equally in line with what we're talking about? That if we as different people would love what is peculiar to us, that would equally help us run unity.
That was just born out of mischief, not about people wanting to help anybody.
Really, that's the way Nigeria goes, yes. Actually. There is no way you can want to have a serious conversation about Nigeria without talking about laws that are not properly written. Now, why is such a level brought to the center?
Okay, should be localized.
Which God does center worship? If Kano State already has things like his bank, if as a state you want to internalize certain laws and say, if you want to come and do business in America, you have the same thing. The laws of Texas are not the same as laws of New York. Yeah, so, but why bring? Because people are fighting for shares. They are fighting for territory. They want yes, and so what they want is yes, what they want is the more stake we can get for either our religion or for our ethnic group from the center, because that's where everything lies. So what we're saying is this: of course, I agree that we must also deal with attitude, but fundamentally, you see, you cannot say that. In order to make things work in Nigeria today, let us make language an issue. Okay, I'm listening. How do you make language an issue? And you see, around the world today now, English is the language for business. Therefore, master English, and because of that, don't speak Igbo or Hausa Yoruba anymore. We say no, we don't think it's right. Before it became for me coming into the global space, I come from a local culture, and being able to speak my language helps me. You see, I don't need to explain to you why I choose my language. Yes, so the fact is this: we must allow the Yoruba to be at the Babarika and Ashoke to work. They don't owe us. No, I'm coming as part of their own tribal or cultural self-affirmation. They don't want any explanation regarding that. If they will farm, if they will build cocoa and anything they want to do, it is theirs. It is them. Even if they are corrupt in that, it's okay. But to say that on top of 40 laws, the reason these lawmakers are not willing to change anything is very straightforward. The thing is putting money in their pockets. Why change it? They will not.
So no, it's not broken.
Don't fix it. But the day we wake up to realize that we want to have any serious discussion about Nigeria, I tell you that we will go back to the beginning. Why was Nigeria's independence delayed at some point? In 57 and 58, there was a meeting at Lancaster House where the minority said that we coming into Nigeria, we don't have assurance that we are going to be heard and seen. So they said, okay, so they had to hold an entirely different conference on minority agitation. Okay, at Lancaster House in London, England. Now, what does that mean? It means that in the 1960 Constitution, there was provision for how do we allow minority groups to thrive and be themselves. I give an example. I wake up in the morning. I'm from Port Harcourt, I'm from Bayelsa, I'm from Enugu somewhere, and I see oil in my backyard. Why is the federal government bothered about that oil? It's my oil. It's on my land. So what I should do is that I look at it, I study it, and then go. But of course, I'm part of Nigeria. So the knowledge I have about oil in my backyard is I won't drag for the knowledge a man from Argungu has about fish and fisheries. Okay. Those are unique things to us. He will plow the sea, get fish, export it, pay taxes to the federal government, use the money to develop his own place the way he knows best to do it. Because of course the topography, the geography, and everything about the environment. He could even go to Holland and get experts to come and say, look, you guys have done the same thing in your place. So it is regional. Okay. We have a government that thinks and believes and feels it knows. It cannot know. It takes an idle government to think that it can. Look, Mr. Anyaoku is right, may also be wrong, but the fact is that we can't throw what he said in the can. We need to take it and take what others have also said and put everything on the table and say, how should Nigeria go forward? The fact that we've had up to 10 conferences, including the one Jonathan in 2014, and yet we've not moved any forward. It just shows you one thing. That even if there has been an insincerity of leadership to get this right, if things were already right by law, we won't be looking for conferences to hold. Something is fundamentally still wrong. All right. And so we must sit back, look back, and plow our way forward.
Fantastic. We'll go for a quick break, and when we return, Enterprise Friday continues. Please don't go anywhere.
Stop. Wait. Okay.
All right, you're welcome back, and if you're still with us, still Enterprise Friday, reaching you from Enterprise Television. We're discussing on the very important submission by Emeka Anyaoku on the issue of whether or not the 1999 Constitution is still good enough to run the country. And still with us is Emeka and Cyril. And thank you so very much, gentlemen, for still hanging on. Now, just before we wind up for today, Emeka, I'd love to ask you on this issue of federalism. I remember very vividly at the National Assembly when we were talking about regional government. Some senators in the Southwest said that if that was allowed to run, it's like giving the Southeast its ability for them to float the Biafra, and therefore it's not good enough to have a regional system of government at this time, knowing how far we have come as a country. So do you think this is negating all of the things we're talking about, regions and people of the same kind understanding themselves and bringing something to the table?
Senate Majority Leader who was voted for said has denied it.
Has denied it.
He has denied it. But the question I want to ask: if any part of Nigeria sits, will heavens fall? No. If we have regionalism, will heavens fall? No. We have seen the example of Djibouti. You have to do I think was it the World Bank or the African Development Bank? No, I think China, financed a railway linking Djibouti to the port. So if Nigeria disintegrates today, maybe let's believe peacefully. Let's just paint a worst case scenario because that's how intellectual argument should be done. If Nigeria disintegrates, all the component parts will still have to have agreements on right of passage.
Exactly.
Right of passage for railway, right of passage for ports, right of passage for highways, and all of these things. So, what is the fear about? Look, what will be with you, whether anybody likes it or not. For me, I believe that we have a bigger field to play in inside Nigeria.
Exactly.
The only problem is that our leaders have not been able to, use the existing laws to make the lives of Nigerians better. That to me is the problem. Amending the constitution is not a difficult thing. President Goodluck Jonathan did so much. In fact, the National Assembly under his administration did so much, changed a lot of things. Even tried to make some sections of the constitution justiciable. Buhari came in.
Like chapter 2.
Buhari came in and torpedoed everything because he felt he was coming with a vendetta. At the end of the day, Buhari ended up burying this country. burying this country. The agreement with ASU, 2009 agreement that Nyesom Wike as a Minister of State for Education signed with ASU. After a 9-month strike, Buhari refused to implement it. Who is it in the 1999 Constitution? We are talking about the state actors. Their lack of understanding of the principles of federalism is the biggest problem. They need to go back to school to understand the principles of federalism. No, but we can blame the Constitution all we want, but let me tell you the truth. I've told you about, first of all, the African Charter on Human and People's Rights says that the dignity of the human being is the primary thing. That's why in Sustainable Development Goals, the first goal is end poverty. So if we make the lives of Nigerians better, make the society better, all these differences, we can actually sort them out one after the other. But if we think that, okay, we take 1999 Constitution and dump it, excuse me, then bring in a new Constitution, with this mindset of the current operators, things will even be worse.
You have a doubt?
Yes. Let me just put it this way. Even if the 1999 Constitution was better than what it is today, anything better can be made. Anything good can be made better. That's one.
Which I agree with.
Second thing is that we're looking at, you give the example of the ASU 2009 agreement, right? You see that all of these schools are either federal or state owned. The universities are largely federal or state owned. Good. The federal universities belong to the Almighty Federal Government in Abuja, which is the problem one. Number two is the fact that the state-owned universities are state that sit down, wait for money to come from federal government, with which they pay teachers and. But if we had a proper, whether it was zonal, regional, geopolitical, sub-federal units, whatever happened to states or regions being because UI, for example, didn't begin as a federal university. There was no federal government back then. UI was a regional institution. A lot of them were, the experiment they beginning from Unilag or so. So if they began and thrived and excelled as regional institutions, why then are they not able to thrive as federal institutions today? It is because the system is flawed. So for me, instead of taking two extremes of saying it is attitudinal and it's constitutional, even if our attitudes were, you see, the thing is this: when people become when Paul had a change of heart, like Saul became Paul, he began to confess what he had done. He began to seek a change because the old system could not contain his new character, new person. The day attitudes change, there will be a call for a change of this system. So whether one should come before the other is another matter. But for me, I can tell you that to say that this constitution is good or that it is the best in happening to us will not be correct. I agree with Emeka Anyaoku. You know why? See, the earlier we face it, the better in this country. The fact is that people are profiteering from. They will tell you, man, I come from Abuja. We did federal road. They are here to pay us. The money that came from Abuja, this one was for this one. But if the money was coming from, if it was state money that they are generating, the governors have nowhere. They have no. They themselves with the federal government, the way the government in our state were created, we are going to change it.
But is it possible to have all of this without necessarily having the fear for succession? Just like
let me explain. Now, this is the thing. In my own personal templates, I won't make it a book, but I just have a blueprint where I wrote some things out. Nigeria's problems existed before independence. They were there after independence and became worse and complicated after the Civil War.
Nigeria's problem.
Come on. They are.
I might ask, what do you think is that central problem? What do you think is that problem?
They call it the national question. It's an identity issue. It was there before independence. Okay, it was there after independence. It happened. It reached some sort of climax after the first coup. Then there was the counter coup. Then since after the Civil War, things just seemed intractable. So to that extent, what I can say, after all, the 1979 Constitution, when it was written, Professor Wangweze later came and said it, that the challenge they had was that they thought that because powers were given to the region so much in the First Republic, that was part of what led to the Civil War. And that as a result of that, in 1979, they now wanted to pack all the powers and put at the center. But we are worse off today. So when you're dealing with pushing powers out, right, you also deal with the identity question. Who are we? And that one you can't achieve it by the army. You have to explain to Nigerians why Nigeria matters. And that will happen when we begin to put some things on the table. It's a whole different conversation. But I think that what Baba Anyaoku has done is to basically tell us this is the road for us to take. What we need to do is to now ask, what how do we need to take this road? And I think it's a good place to begin the conversation, because if we don't, 50 years from now, this same debate will still come up.
But
Yes.
just lastly,
yes.
I said something. The issue is about attitude. Why I said attitude is this: are the operators ready for these reforms? They themselves know that we need to make the constitution better. We need to make change the constitution. But when push comes to shove, they chicken out. That's why I talk about attitude. There must be that idea that yes, we need to make changes. We need to, do something. But when it comes, they're not ready to go. State police. Do you know some weeks ago the vice president had to beg states, please hasten up your recommendations on this thing. Up till now, they have not. So many issues, up till now, they've not. So when the attitude to make a change is not there, because they're enjoying it, they enjoy the feeding bottle federalism, whereby federal government collects sales tax and shares to them. When they are enjoying that, there won't be that attitude to say, no, let us make a change. Because now the North has come out to say, oh, there should be VAT allocation by attribution. They now realized that, okay,
that is a problem. That we are still doing the North said, the South said.
No, I'm even looking at it in terms
of
attitude.
I know that
we can start somewhere. Then when we get along the line, we can say no. Let's emphasize the North side or the South.
You know why I'm for beginning by the country, because attitude is sort of is immaterial. You can't touch it. You may not even be able to measure it. Again, values differ from society to society. Yeah. And when you bring up subjective issues, your sense of morality may not sit with someone else's own. But if we come to the realm of empiricism, where we can have laws, write them and codify them, at least it sets a basis. Then we can talk of attitude, because this attitude issue. Go on Twitter. You see Twitter handles like the North will never forget. Very, very funny things. There is but you know that there are laws and the police can arrest somebody for doing something wrong, right? So even if it's for hate speech and you can arrest that, arrest the person, because we are not going to sit back and say his attitude is bad because somebody did it to his father first. No, the beginning point is laws. Then anything else that follows will follow. That's for me though.
All right. A comedian once said that what Nigeria needs is fumigation. That we all need to go out, they fumigate Nigeria and come back. So, but the truth of the matter, if we all go out and Nigeria is fumigated and we still come back, isn't it the same police they get?
The we need is to fumigate the minds.
Okay, very well. Yes, of course, fumigating the minds. And that's just about the size of our package today. I'd love to say thank you so very much, Cyril Abaku, for being part of our show today. Emeka, thank you as always. All right, we're about to leave now. We'd love to say thank you to you for being part of our show today. We love you too. Please visit us. You can only find us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Igwebike. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.